On the day of her royal wedding, she was promised a crown and a kingdom. Instead, she received a death sentence. Her new husband, the prince, cast her into a dark abyss, a ritual sacrifice to a ravenous beast. But as she fell into the darkness, he made one fatal mistake. He didn't ensure she was dead. The wind screamed past her as her fairy tale became a nightmare, her descent violently arrested by the skeletal arms of a dead branch. Pain shot through her body, but she was alive when Jessie regained consciousness. She was alone in the echoing darkness. She screamed for help, but only silence answered. Realizing she was her only savior, Jessie began to climb, but the rock walls were treacherously smooth, offering no purchase for her trembling hands. She searched for another way, soon finding a deep chasm separating her from a cave, glowing with an ethereal blue light. With no other choice, she gathered her courage and leaped. Her injured leg buckled on impact, nearly sending her back into the void. In a critical moment, a chain on her wedding dress snagged in a crevice, a cruel irony saving her life. Using a dagger from a hidden pocket, she fought her way up, finally collapsing onto the platform. The blue light came from countless glowing insects. She tore a piece of her dress and created a makeshift lamp, a small beacon against the crushing dark. A pool of water offered relief, but it was foul and undrinkable. Her only solace was the clean water dripping from melting ice above. But as she savored the taste, a terrifying sound echoed from above. The ice pillars were melting faster, not from warmth, but from fire. A monstrous creature, the beast of the abyss, fell into the cave with the flames. Jessie scrambled into the shadows, escaping its notice. In her hiding spot, her light revealed something even more horrifying: markings on the wall and piles of tattered girls' clothing. She wasn't the first. This was a tomb for generations of girls like her, deceived by a prince and fed to a monster. Exhausted, she rested, only to be awakened by a strange sensation. The glowing insects had covered her injured leg. Panicked, she brushed them off, but stopped in astonishment. Beneath them, her wound was miraculously healed. Testing the impossible, she placed a firefly on another cut, the wound sealed before her eyes. This wasn't just light, it was life. With her health restored, confidence surged through her. She found a map scratched into the wall by a previous victim. It showed another exit, proof that someone might have escaped. After carving her own name among the others, she followed the path. Soon, she found a vertical shaft shimmering with crystals and sunlight. An exit, hope soared. She picked up a discarded crown, tore her long skirt into bindings, and began the treacherous climb towards the light. Suddenly, a dark shadow eclipsed the sun. The dragon appeared at the cave ceiling, its maw opening to unleash fire. In a flash of inspiration, Jessie swung the crown, hooking it onto a rock and saving herself from the inferno. But when she finally reached the top, her hope shattered. The exit opened onto an impossibly high cliff face. There was no way down. As despair consumed her, she heard shouting in the distance, a rescue party, but her cries for help attracted the wrong attention. The dragon flew towards her, backing her into a corner where she made a grim discovery: a skeleton. The woman who drew the map never made it out. As the monster prepared to strike, a familiar shout interrupted its attack. It was her father's voice. The dragon soared off to investigate. Jessie, turning back, accidentally stumbled and fell into the dragon's true lair. There, the full tragic story was laid bare. Before her were not treasures, but a crown and the tiny, broken bodies of 3 baby dragons. Jessie finally understood. Years ago, the king, fearing the power of new dragons, had ordered the execution of the mother dragon's newborns. Enraged and grief-stricken, the mother dragon had unleashed a fiery apocalypse upon the kingdom. Powerless against her fury, the king knelt and begged for mercy, willing to pay any price. The price was blood for blood. The mother dragon demanded the king's own 3 daughters in retribution. And so the curse was born. Each new king had to sacrifice 3 daughters to appease the dragon. But unable to sacrifice their own flesh and blood, the royal family devised a wicked deception. They would marry innocent girls and send them to the dragon's lair as substitutes. Jessie was just the latest victim in a century-long lie. At that moment, her father and his soldiers charged in, but against the colossal, grieving mother, they were powerless. Despite the terror, Jessie's father drew his sword, determined to save his daughter at any cost. Jessie arrived just in time to see the dragon use her father as bait, trying to lure her out. Her father repeatedly warned her to stay hidden, choosing to sacrifice himself for her escape. Jessie could only watch in horror as the dragon's claw pierced his chest, his life extinguishing for hers. Her scream of pain alerted the dragon. As it hunted for her, a fleeing soldier made a noise, drawing the beast's attention. The soldiers unwittingly lured the dragon away, giving Jessie a precious window. She rushed to her father's side. With his dying breath, he told her to use the rope he brought to escape. Then, he was gone. Grasping the rope, Jessie began her second ascent, this time fueled by grief and vengeance. The dragon, realizing it had been tricked, crushed the remaining soldiers and charged after her, spewing roaring flames. Jessie scrambled desperately, the heat scorching her back. She pulled herself over the edge just in time, finally escaping the cave. Knowing the dragon would not give up, she leaped onto her horse and galloped away. The beast burst from the mountain, realizing she couldn't outrun it. Jessie dismounted and hid, letting the horse run on as a decoy. The enraged dragon, tricked again, unleashed its fury, scorching the entire forest in a sea of fire. From the castle, the queen saw the apocalyptic scene and knew Jessie had survived. To appease the dragon, she made a ruthless decision. She ordered her soldiers to seize Jessie's own sister and threw her from the cliffs, a new sacrifice to correct Jessie's escape. When Jessie finally reunited with her stepmother, she learned the horrific news. The survivor inside her died, and a warrior was born. She decided to return to the dragon's lair, not to escape, but to conquer. Drawing on experience, she moved with purpose. She created her firefly lamp, then used the foul pool water to mask her scent from the dragon. She gathered weapons and built a timed diversion. This time, she was the hunter. The dragon lay in wait, anticipating her return. When the diversion went off, it leaped towards the sound, just as Jessie planned. Jessie found her sister, but she was too injured to move quickly. The dragon, realizing the deception, charged back. Jessie told her sister to hide. She exposed the king's lies, revealing that the royal family had never honored their promise, deceiving both her and the dragon. But blinded by centuries of grief, the dragon refused to believe. Left with no choice, Jessie drew her sword. The dragon's fire sent her into the lake. She was tackled, crushed by its weight, but in the agony, she plunged her dagger into its eye. Picking up her sword, she screamed that she was not of royal blood, but the dragon insisted it could smell the king's lineage on her. And in that moment, Jessie understood the final piece of the puzzle. She plunged her sword into the dragon's palm, temporarily breaking free. She goaded the beast, provoking it to breathe fire against a large rock, causing its own flames to engulf it. As the dragon wailed, Jessie extended her palm. She explained that at every wedding, the prince would cut his hand, mixing his royal blood with the bride's. It was the ultimate deception, a way to trick the dragon for centuries. Jessie raised her sword, but she did not strike. She thrust it into the ground. They were both victims, and only by working together could they confront the true culprit, the royal family. She walked into the pool, gathering the healing fireflies, and used them to mend the dragon's wounds. An alliance was forged in shared pain. Then, she returned to the castle alone. In the great hall, another wedding was underway, another innocent girl being deceived. Jessie strode to the stage, released the bride, and gave everyone a final chance to escape the kingdom's lies. The queen, arrogant and secure, merely scoffed, but then, a great shadow fell over the castle. The dragon had arrived as Jessie turned to leave. The kingdom that betrayed her was engulfed in righteous fire and fell to ruin. Jessie walked away from the ashes, free at last, and above her, the dragon flew slowly, no longer a monster, but a guardian. It would take her father's place, forever watching over the girl who had given it back its justice.